And now in Esoteric Cliffnotes, we have Live Your Divinity by Adamus St. Germain, transmitted by Geoffrey, Hoppe, and Linda Hoppe. Introduction. A message from Adamus St. Germain. When the student stops seeking, they begin to experience. We're not going to get too esoteric. There are going to be days when we're together when you may feel that nothing is happening, only to find out later that something tremendous did indeed happen. That's the way new energy works. Energy exists in a neutral state until it is activated. When it is activated by your command, it will actualize. Remember, the master allows energy to serve them. You are a master. Allow energy to serve you. The answer is you've chosen the game. Nobody's chosen it for you. There is something that you must love about the game, otherwise you wouldn't be playing it. You're playing a game and you can quit at any time. You got yourself into the game, therefore you can get yourself out. All is well in all of creation. Chapter 1. Into Your Awakening. The first thing that changes within your DNA is your ancestral karma, your bloodline. You generally incarnate into the same bloodline lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. You probably have known your children and your parents before, because right before you are ready for another incarnation, the strong karmic attraction of that bloodline pulls you into it again. As you release the code in your DNA, it also changes the code of the ones who are about to incarnate back into your family line. Perhaps a deceased parent or grandparent who's planning to come back soon. It frees them from being stuck in this old ancestral karma. Your dreams are occurring all of the time. You're dreaming right now. You're here, but the dreams are still occurring on other levels. And it's not just one dream, it's layers of dreams. Your dreams are changing, but in reality, you are changing. Because now, when you go to sleep, you're tapping into different dream layers at the same time. True intelligence is the understanding that 2 plus 2 equals anything. It depends on your perspective, your beliefs, and your choices. Your logic says 2 plus 2 has to equal 4, but your energy intelligence will allow you to grasp the concept that 2 plus 2 equals anything you want. Mental feelings, you might call them emotions, have very little to do with true feelings. Emotions are created by your mind, therefore your emotions are limited and actually artificial. They are not the true feelings and awareness. Survival is old Lemurian programming. You go to Earth and incarnate into biology because then you can have some experience, but you get trapped there, so you learn to survive. It's old programming. I hope that you're able to release the programming to survive because it is really painful and limited. You don't need to survive, you need to live. The desire for pleasure is the result of old Atlantean programming. You can make people work very hard when they get a little reward at the end of the day, when they get a little sex, a little alcohol, a little acknowledgement, a little power. This is the comfort and pleasure energy center within you. Ultimately, spirit and human come together in a most intimate way. At some point, they touch and actually cross over each other. Instead of separation, there's a constant weaving into each other. The place where they first cross is the critical point. The symbol of the fish, which may look familiar, is a symbol comes from the time of Yeshua. Many people think it's a fish, representing the notion that Yeshua was a fisher of men. Absolutely not. This symbol represents the point where the human waveform and the spirit waveform finally intersect. It's about integrating, it's about coming together, shown here as the X point. The X point on the tail. Did Yeshua die on the cross? No, he came alive on the cross. His physical body didn't mean anything. This symbol was developed hundreds and hundreds of years later as a form of religious hypnosis. Nobody can die for your sins. The symbol of the cross was originally meant as the point of intersection, the coming together of spirit and human. Now it is used to symbolize suffering, pain, guilt, and control. Yeshua awakened on the cross, and in that moment released the physical body. He went on merrily with Mary Magdalene. They had children together, even though he didn't have a physical body. Beautiful children. Yes, you can have sex even when you don't have a body. Very true. New energy appears to be very chaotic, but it is not. The Gabriel syndrome is when you're in the awakening zone and hear, quote unquote, the calling. It's a call for every part of you to integrate your aspects, past lives, future potentials, unmanifested past potentials. It's every part of you, including your divine and the human, that now integrate. Compassion can be very challenging. When you are in compassion for yourself, it will bring up all your issues about why you haven't been compassionate. Everything that has not been handled with compassion is going to come up to the surface. Every wound, every broken or dark aspect will come up because ultimately it wants your compassion. You chose ascension, so therefore it has already happened. Now you travel back in time to experience the ascension journey. Can you look back from your ascended status and say, how do I want to experience getting there? You are looking back on yourself if you choose to. The destructing period can last anywhere from 10 to 15 years for those who are fast tracking, or 3 to 4 lifetimes for those who are at a more leisurely pace. Chapter 2, Your Body of Consciousness. You can be aware of what's happening right now in Norway, in a specific city, in a specific house or community through a bird. You expand your consciousness and then you're there. You really are. You had many potentials in other realities that were manifested in a non-physical form. You had many, many other potentials that were contemplated. You thought about them at some level, but were never actualized. Your potentials are your real history, not what you think happened. Chapter 3, The Current Energies of Human Consciousness. The energetic battles are happening in the near-Earth realms with one religious faction fighting with another. In order to maintain the momentum and build energy for their cause, they energetically connect into the religious establishments on Earth. The God Wars are going to be a major factor in these next few years. Don't be alarmed, don't be surprised, and don't get involved in it. There is an energetic mechanism that takes place when you get into a lot of thought, and it can make you very tired. Physical activity actually doesn't make you tired. Physical activity, if done in balance, should actually attract more energy. Your body brings it in, processes out the old, stuck, junky energy, and revitalizes you. Too much thinking tires you out. It's a good thing to not think about not thinking about it. If the experience comes your way, you created it. Therefore, you can absolutely handle it. Chapter 4, The Alchemy of Light and Dark. I didn't highlight anything in here, so I don't think anything here was new to me. All right, Chapter 5, Mastery of Self. Mastery is when you absolutely command energies to serve you. Energetically, you don't have to tolerate things you don't want anymore. To let energy start serving you, don't be surprised when it does. Don't be surprised when the right person just happens to be there at the right moment. Don't be surprised when synchronicity is a way of life, not something unique or unusual. It happens to you right now. Energy is here, knocking at your door, ready to serve you. Only the master can be in true service. Everyone else is but a servant. Because the master in service has absolutely no agenda, they provide the absolute best service, filled with compassion. In your mastery, you do not command others, you command only energy. You don't command others to hand over money or do special favors, but because you're in command of yourself, somehow they just naturally want to be there in service to you. In other words, everything happens in graceful synchronicity. It falls into place. Chapter 6, Becoming a Multi-Dimensional Being. If you, as a master, expand your consciousness into other dimensions and encounter chaos, take a really deep breath and understand that it's not. Go beyond old energy definitions. Let yourself swim in what appears to be chaos, and suddenly you'll start seeing the beauty of all creation. You'll stop trying to heal things. You'll even stop trying to heal yourself, and you'll realize the perfection in all things. Consciousness creates and changes dimensions, and in doing so, it changes the energy input. What is your prison, and do you choose to step out now? Your answer is the potential to change the entire complexion of your dimension. In other words, it's not locked in. It's not seen. It's not preordained unless you did it. Everything is malleable. When consciousness changes, the dimension changes. When the dimension changes, the energy changes. When you are clear, the energy is clear. Another important attribute of dimensions is that every dimension has a front door and a back door, with the exception of one, the dimension of home. So home only has a one-way door, but every other dimension has a front door and a back door. To do interdimensional travel, you expand from the now moment. When you expand to the other dimensions, you don't just send your spirit or your mind, you take your body of consciousness. And with the breath and with the choice, you can go anywhere you want, even into dimensions that you can't really define, but that you can feel. You've gone to a lot of different dimensions over the time of your existence. You've created a lot of these dimensions, so a part of you is already there. Can somebody else infiltrate your dimension, your I am? At your core, nobody can. This is sovereign territory. It is your soul state, your sovereign territory that nobody else can penetrate or infiltrate. History is littered with attempts to steal others' souls, but it can't be done. Chapter 7, You and the New Energy. You cannot be consumed or annihilated by another being. You cannot be trapped in a specific reality. Earth, for instance, for eternity. You are truly sovereign beings. There's nothing to worry about. The concept of protecting and fortifying and defending has led you to more difficulties and frustrations than it was ever worth. You don't go home to spirit. Spirit comes home to you. New energy is timeless and spaceless. It doesn't have the constrictions of linear existence. In other words, don't start planning, don't create goals, don't make assumptions of what's going to happen tomorrow. Waiting for some milestone will delay new energy because new energy will also wait. Chapter 8, Potentials and Manifesting. You can actually be aware of watching many different television programs all at the same time. This is known as multiple manifestations or the awareness of simultaneous events happening at the same time. While it sounds intriguing, it can be very uncomfortable at first. You have spent many lifetimes focusing on just one reality manifestation at a time. The mind has come to believe that it can only process a singular linear experience at a time, but you can actually handle many. Even your identity is based on a singular linear reality, although it doesn't need to be. You can experience multiple manifestations at the same time. Start playing with it, imagining it. You'll come to discover that this is actually a more natural state of being. Your mind cannot truly imagine. It pretends that it knows how to imagine, but the only thing that the mind does is pull from its memory and try to create a picture for the future. So generally, the imaginations from the mind are very limited. How do you select a potential? Do you use a broad term like joy and happiness? Or do you use very specific potentials like a most excellent job that pays 150K a year? I contend that using a very broad choice such as I want to be happy is rather weak because I'm not sure you know what happiness is, other than driving a BMW 7 Series. What feels right for you? You don't have to start putting labels or words on these different potentials. You don't have to start labeling them things like job, money, or enlightenment, because potentials actually have no labels or human definitions. Your field of potentials is not defined by things like money, health, enlightenment, or any other human-based factors. Your potentials are actually deep sensory feelings. Here's what I suggest. Close your eyes, relax, and do conscious breathing for 5 minutes. Imagine your now moment represented by the outer circle in the diagram. And the circle has the diagram shows a circle with a dot in it that looks like an eye. Expanding outward. Then smile, relax. Don't expect what you're going to see, pictures or hear voices. Do allow yourself to feel. Without going mental, feel into the energies, play with them, experience the differences as you continue to expand. After playing with the energies for a while, choose something by imagining that you're touching it with your index finger. Take a deep breath, relax. Forget about it. In other words, don't dwell on it. Go back to doing whatever you were doing before, knowing that these energies are now coming in to serve you. You might as well throw all history away, for it is written in a linear way. This goes for personal history as well as planetary history, plus everything you think about, plus everything you think you know about how Earth was created and evolved. What you think you know is but a sliver of the truth. Imagine all of your potentials as bubbles floating around you right now. Let yourself expand in and out of them. Feel them. You don't have to make any choices right now, so don't be afraid of feeling. Does it feel dramatic? Does it feel good? Does it feel like you? A lot of them are going to feel like a kind of flat or old, or suddenly, as you're drifting around your potential, something will resonate. Something will just ring the bell. It will just feel right, if not downright exciting. You'll get a vibrational wash. Some of you call it a love wash, from head to foot. Now you're into your feelings. Chapter 9, Your Sovereignty. You become a totally sovereign being, free, a god in your own right, and herein lies the problem. In your own oneness, you are no longer interconnected to human consciousness. In your own oneness, you are no longer interconnected to this thing that you call God. You are not part of the field, the reservoir of energy. You are not a master of maneuvering in the matrix. You are beholden to no one and no thing. You are your own one, as I am my own one. As a captain of your own ship, your body, mind, and soul, your aspects from the past, every part of you, do you exert control? No, you don't, because it's all you. You don't have other humans inside you. You don't have their agendas, and their desire to take power away from you. This is you. You're the captain of your own ship. You're the boss. You're the sovereign being. Your old concepts of God make it very difficult for angels to work with you at times. Chapter 10, Your 5 Angelic Senses. When you incorporate the human and angelic senses together, you'll have more awareness of both your physical and non-physical realities. As you breathe in through your human senses, you will effectively open and expand their sensory range, and eventually expand these senses into the non-physical realms. You can expand your human sense of hearing into the other realms so that you can hear celestial music. You can and should use your sense of taste for more than just food. Your first angelic sense is awareness. The upside down of awareness is that you can look at a painting, for instance, and it comes to life because you feel the energy and the movements of the artist. The second angelic sense is compassion. True compassion is the total acceptance of self. With true compassion for others, you don't try to change anything. There's no saving anyone. There is absolute acceptance and honoring. I like to end our discussions with the phrase, all is well in all of creation. That is a statement of compassion. It's all going to work out, or rather, it's already worked out. The body can heal itself without any medication. If you take a lot of medications, well, that's not having compassion for yourself and not trusting yourself. There's only one thing that can truly heal you. You. That's it. No sacred ceremonies, no special formulas, nothing. Anybody that tries to tell you something other than you is profiting on your vulnerability. Imagination is the most beautiful of the angelic senses. It's very underused, and it's often confused with mental imaging, or creating an image from the mind. Imagination is about feeling into potentials, expanding your consciousness, going very interdimensional. Imagination and choice create reality. It's what created everything outside of home. Daydreaming is a form of imagination. You're actually going out and viewing into potentials. The next angelic sense is focus. Multi-focus is a great tool to play with because when you expand into other dimensions, it's not singular. It's very multidimensional with many things happening at one time. The mind is going to try to focus on just one thing or the other, but hopefully we're able to go beyond the mind. The fifth angelic sense is expression. The out-breath is the expression. In other words, spirit breathed out an expression. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the beginning was expression, and the expression was with God, and the expression was God. Chapter 11, Amio and Makio. Amio is absolute trust in yourself. Amio, I am that I am. No matter what is happening in life, you unconditionally know that you have created it for the higher good of yourself. Makio. It happens near the end of self-realization, and they start polluting themselves with a lot of distractions, spiritual rhetoric, rituals, routines, as well as limited beliefs, dogma, and righteousness. Oftentimes, the makyo comes in because there is a resistance to ending the game. In other words, you can sense that you're about to become enlightened, but you're not really ready to get out of the game. You want to keep searching instead of becoming. Any belief system that you have is basically false. Chapter 12, The End of Duality. Invest in your dreams. Don't let them just be dreams in some far off distant dimension. Use the tools that you have right now to invest in yourself. Bring these dreams right here to Earth. Chapter 13, Nothing. Whatever you want to call it, awakening, enlightenment, ascension, it is a natural process. If you would stop thinking about it, if you would stop manipulating, and if you would stop searching for it, you would be instantly enlightened. Allow this natural process of awakening, which comes from your soul, which integrates your divine, to just happen. Don't manipulate it and don't talk about it. All is well in all of creation. There is nothing that needs to be fixed, nothing that needs to be changed, nothing that went wrong. It has just been an experience.